Good evening and thanks for joining us. Carly, it looks like they'll be playing with the 40-man roster tonight, right? They've cut it down to 40, so that's
actually cutting it in half too, almost more than half, because there were over 80 players that attended Bobcats training camp over the weekend. Today was that final day, and they have a chance to strut their stuff at top 40 tonight at 5 o'clock.
Well, that's good that they have so many people at training camp this year. It's good to see. Shauna, beautiful weekend. I was out there at the Laurie Craven, and it was hot. So.
Yes, and it was a great hot day today. There is something moving in, just for a day though, but we'll talk about that later on. Across the Midwest region right now, we're sitting at a balmy 28 degrees. There's no winds, it's very calm, and similar conditions in the Midwest, and Lakeland and Battleford's very warm and a few clouds. So as I said earlier, a system is moving in. It will bring some precipitation. How much and for how long? I'll have your full weather forecast coming up a little later on.
Now, after the announcement of NDP leader Jack Layton's final battle with cancer, many are reflecting on his accomplishments and remembering him as a great person. Kathy Lee gets local reaction to Layton's death.
The signing of the documents by the three.
Only months ago, the world saw a leader strong and fierce during his campaign, but today the mood is somber for many acknowledging Jack Layton's death.
It's pretty sad. He worked hard for the party, and now he's gone. And
rest in peace, Jack Layton. You'll be missed for sure.
Not a big fan of politicians, but he seemed to be a really nice guy. He's very energetic, very, straightforward, it seemed. So it's a sad day.
While the loss has deeply impacted Canadian politics, Layton has left behind a legacy many speak highly of.
I think the success of the NDP party was solely on the back of Jack Layton. I don't know if there's anyone else that can develop that sense of loyalty, that sense of common ground element that he brought to people.
Jack Layton used his personal appeal, his passion. He certainly wasn't a shrinking violet, but he was all about getting his message clearly understood in a manner that brought civility to politics.
The NDP was elected as the official opposition party, which was an historical move for them. Just one of many accomplishments.
Well, in order for a political system to work, such as Canada has, you need to have a very, very vocal and fairly powerful opposition and or voice, whether it's official opposition or not. Jack Layton was a champion at doing this.
And his dedication to the Canadian people was always a priority, even on his deathbed.
I think that letter was one of the most inspiring things I've read in recent memory. And I think it will inspire people to hear the NDP message and to consider what they're bringing forward.
Now the race is on for another NDP leader, and regardless of who wins, many say his shoes will be hard to fill.
They'll be looking for someone who espouses all of his values and who stands for what he stood for because he put their party in good standing.
I think they'll get by. It will definitely be harder, but hopefully it all works out.
He ran that party, so I don't know how well they'll survive without him.
Kathy Lee, Newcap News.
A 3-year-old girl is dead after being attacked by dogs on the Mosquito First Nation. Battleford's RCMP responded yesterday at around 7 p.m. Police say it appears the girl wandered into a nearby yard which had 2 dogs who attacked the young child. She was transported to hospital but died shortly after arriving. The owner put the dogs down following the incident. RCMP say the community has not had issues with dangerous dogs in the past. Right now, no criminal charges have been laid. The 21-year-old suspect in the suspicious death of Samantha Joanne Wood, has been recommended for further evaluation before his next court date. Xavier Gayno appeared in Cold Lake Court via closed-circuit television last week. Gayno is charged with first-degree murder for the death of 19-year-old Samantha Joanne Wood after she was found dead in an apartment complex back in mid-June. Gayno's next court appearance is slated for October 5th. On the same weekend that a tragic plane accident claimed the 12 lives in Nunavut, Lloydminster was the site of a training exercise for CSARA, the Civil Air Search and Rescue Association. For those taking part, the timing added to the importance of what the organization does. Robert Buffum has more.
The Lloydminster Airport was transformed into an air search and rescue base as members of CSARA from Alberta and Saskatchewan took part in simulated rescue efforts. The national organization partners with the RCMP to conduct searches for missing or crashed planes, like one that went down on Saturday in Nunavut. But the group also gets called upon to help find missing or lost people.
We did this year 2 searches for Alzheimer's patients. One search for a youth who was suicidal and who had left their home in the middle of the winter.
The types of searches they do depends a lot on the terrain.
I know in the north, in Saskatchewan, they do lots of searches for missing boaters, missing hunters, people on snowmobiles.
Thankfully, this kind of careful preparation is not usually put into practice.
It's one of those things that we train in the hopes that you never need to call us, just like a fireman or anybody else like that.
But when they do get called into action, it's rewarding.
It's exciting. And I guess the part of it is that you're helping people and you can save people's lives.
Sass says the timing of a plane crash in the north underscores the importance of training sessions like this one.
It's vitally important, and we train as provinces, but then like a joint exercise like we have today, we learn from each other.
He also says the shared goal of CASRA members creates a powerful camaraderie.
Like I said, we're all volunteers for working towards a common purpose, and that's been very fulfilling to me.
CASRA is always looking for volunteers, and you don't need to be a pilot to join. Robert Buffum, Newcap News.